What's going on, Rich Budget here? Welcome back to another episode of South Stand Stories, and it has been an absolute disaster. I'm not going to waste any of your time going on ramblings about what the series is, what anything is, because we're all here to sit there and digest that absolute abomination of a performance that was Leeds versus West Brom. Leeds 0, West Brom 1, and I look like an absolute mug because I'm sat there telling anyone that would listen, Leeds, after every bad defeat, after every bit of embarrassment this season, we come back with a point to prove. We come back on fire. We usually absolutely smash whoever's next in front of us. But what do we do today? We had an embarrassing result in the week. We come today against a side in West Brom who are close to us. Okay, now they're only 3 points behind. Before, they were 6 points behind. We had Southampton just overtake us the week before. We have Southampton now pushing towards automatic promotion. We have Ipswich dropping points like nobody's business. They picked up 2 points out of their last possible 12 points, Ipswich. I'm telling you, there is no way, not a snowball's chance in hell, that they are finishing in the top 2 places. Everyone's been sat there saying, oh, we'll wait for the wheels to come off Ipswich. We'll wait for the wheels to come off Ipswich. Well, guess what? The wheels are well and truly off. Believe me, they are scraping down the side of that road. There is metal sparks flying everywhere from their rims smashing into every piece of concrete imaginable. But yet Leeds are unable to pick up 2 or 3 extremely winnable games we should be winning. We should. Preston, West Brom, Coventry, we should be winning those games. If we get those 3 points, we are chilling. Those 3 games, sorry, those 9 points, we're chilling. We are up in the top 2 places and we are living life. But unfortunately, I don't know what's happened to them over this Christmas break. The only time I've seen them perform was against Ipswich. The one game that you probably expect us not to win was the Ipswich game. But yet we beat them convincingly. Today, they just looked absolutely like a shell of themselves, really. There was no confidence. There was no inspiration. In the first half, we had a couple of half chances, a couple of decent chances. But no one really looked like they were willing to put in an extra bit of effort to win the game there. They looked flat, they looked lost, they looked lethargic, it was sideways, it was backwards. And West Brom had a lot of joy in the first half, they really did. There was a couple of chances they came close to scoring with. As for the time they actually did, embarrassing, comical defending, really comical defending there. I mean, first of all, and this was the tale of the entire game, the goal they scored was an epitome of everything that happened that game. The problem you had that game wasn't necessarily tactical. It wasn't necessarily to do with the personnel on the pitch, because he actually made changes today. And listen, I'm not mad at the changes that he made, because first of all, Gnonto for Dan James. I don't think Dan James had been at his best the past few weeks, so I'm not obliged to Gnonto coming in for him. I think quite a lot of people would have asked for that to happen, and it did. Sam Byram coming back in at left back and Jed Spence going over to right back. Perfect. No problem with that at all. Everyone's been asking for that. He made the changes. I was expecting big things. Plus, I've been calling for weeks. Gnonto on the right-hand side with Jed Spence. Gnonto, we all know, likes to come inside, likes to occupy that middle kind of area of the pitch, and that's where he does most of his work. Well, that's perfect for Jed Spence because he likes to overlap down the right-hand side and create danger. But for some reason, I barely saw Jed Spence overlapping. I saw him overlapping more when he was playing left-back than I did when he was playing right-back next to Gnonto. So I don't really understand that. I was a bit disappointed with Jed Spence's offensive output. Wilfred Gnonto had a couple of chances, should have scored. One of them, for me, should have been a penalty. Listen, really should have. He's grabbed him from behind, pulled him down. Although I would still say I'd expected Gnonto to release a shot there. But I'm not going to sit here complaining about penalties because, as I said, he made the changes. The one I wasn't too sure on with the changes is he brought Gruev in. I thought Gruev was all right, and I think Gruev has been, he's been subtly improving over the past few weeks. But if anyone deserved to play in that central midfield area, it's Archie Gray. First of all, I think he brings more creativity than Gruev does. And second of all, he's earned it. You know, he was playing decently in that midfield position. He obviously got shoehorned into right back because we didn't really have any other options, so he got forced out into that position. After that, Glenn Kamara, came into that central midfield role and really made it his own, making it hard for Archie Gray to have any opportunities in there. But if you're taking Kamara out and you don't need Archie Gray at right back, I think because of the work he's done out of position, he's earned himself the opportunity to play in that midfield role. But anyway, I mean, at least he would have showed some sort of passion or aggression to win the game, I believe. But anyway, alas, he didn't play. The personnel I'm not going to have a huge problem with. But the reason I say Archie Gray as well about the personality, because with their goal, as I said, it's an epitome of everything Leeds did wrong today. No one cared. No one showed the passion or the energy needed to win a football match. And what do I mean by that? I mean, no one was taking responsibility. No one was saying, you know, this is my club. This game, we're in a really tough position. The pressure's really starting to mount on. I'm going to be the man that takes on a couple of players. I'm going to be the man that has the composure to play the ball that no one else is thinking, to hold on to the ball when everyone else would release it, to drive forward when everyone else would have gone sideways or backwards. But no one wanted to accept that responsibility. And not only did that affect us on the ball, but it affected us off the ball. Because you see with the goal there, Sam Byram and Somerville, there's a lapse of communication there. Byram comes inside and comes forward into a position he really shouldn't be. But when he does, he's pointing at Somerville. You go back there, you take on your man. But Somerville kind of had two men around him, so he didn't want to drop back into the position Sam Byram was telling him to go into because he had a winger. He had two men around him. So if he does, then they have a two-man overload on that side, and the winger can just drop back. Create space, and it creates a lot of problems for Somerville in there. So he wanted to kind of stay in that position where he was kind of marking both of those guys out of the game. But by doing that, that huge gap was left next to Byram. They play the ball through, and they're defending again. No one putting their name on it. No one clearing it. We made the block off the line. You should be diving in front of that ball after that to get rid of it. Everyone's stationary. Everyone's shell-shocked. And it's just an embarrassing goal to concede. And as I said, that was the tale of the entire game. It was embarrassing. It was weak. It was sloppy. It was poor. I can name a million other adjectives or verbs to describe that game. But guess what? Well, not verbs, adjectives to describe that game. But I can't. I'm not going to, and I can't. Because we've all said it a million and one time, so we've all bored ourselves to death with it. Now the question is, are we going to catch Southampton? Because as I said, Ipswich, for me, not finishing in the automatic promotion zone, I feel like they're really going to fall off now. And Southampton, unfortunately, are now 6 points ahead of us. Who would have thought, yeah? Last week, before Coventry, we were like 3-4 points above Southampton. We were chilling. We were starting to close the gap on Ipswich and Leicester. And what do? We lost 3 out of our last... 3 such winnable games. Such winnable games, and we threw them away. And not only that, now Southampton, that side that were behind us, that side that were almost in the relegation zone when they beat us before, earlier on in the season, are now 6 points ahead of us. And they are really closing in on Ipswich now. Really closing in. We should have been there. We should have done that. But we've completely pissed around. And you know what? I've been calling it for a long time. You guys have been calling it for a long time as well. We could all see this coming. Okay, because we had so many cracks that we were papering over with wins, with certain wins that we were just about edge. We were papering over so many cracks, which is why I kept coming in week out and saying, listen, the system isn't working. We're not getting the best out of these players. And eventually it caught up to us. And it caught up to us last week. It caught up to us a few days ago. And it definitely caught up to us today. It has just been a car crash, a calamitous string of car crash performances. And as we've seen, when we don't have players like Somerville or Rutter putting in absolute worldies and pulling out victories that we shouldn't be getting by doing bits of individual magic, moments of magic, then we really didn't have anything. And we really don't. Like, some of our attacking play is actually quite overrated because of how good those two are. And when one of those two isn't pulling something out of nowhere to do something, then we really struggle. And we struggled a lot today. But let me know what you guys think anyway. Do you put it down to personnel? Who would you change? Or do you just think that, listen, something really needs to be done in terms of motivating these players, in terms of actually giving them a style of play? Because, you know, as I've heard from a lot of people and as I've kind of thought myself, what really identifiable style of play do Leeds have? Really, it's very sideways. It's very backwards right now. But let me know anyway what you guys think down in the comment section down below. For now, guys, I will see you very, very soon, and hopefully in a few days, Leeds can get back to winning ways. But for now, guys, I will see you very soon. Au revoir, my brothers and my